gmna uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action.
Just a quick reminder, GMNA presenters' speech and some images are AI-generated. Content may contain errors. Verify important information. Good morning, Montreal. Quebec just announced a cost of living relief package, including a tax cut and lower vehicle fees, while it's a clear 17 degrees outside. And our feel-good kicker celebrates Montreal youth honored for acts of kindness. Ryan Mercer, I know you've got thoughts on this.
So, Lauren, did you see those Montreal teens who were just honored for biking around the city delivering kindness? Their riverbank cleanup really set a community tone.
I did, Ryan, and I'm impressed they organized a weekend sweep of the St. Lawrence shoreline, gathering bags of litter while their bikes rang with laughter.
What's amazing is the city council planning to spotlight these volunteers at next summer's pedestrian-only street festival, encouraging more young people to combine sport and stewardship.
All right, let's get into it. Starting with Quebec's new cost of living relief package, tax cuts, reduced registration fees, and direct payments to help families this spring. Just a quick reminder, GMNA presenters' speech and some images are AI-generated. Content may contain errors. Verify important information. Good morning, Montreal. I'm Lauren Dupuis. Today we'll break down Liberal MP Stephen Guilbeault's surprise exit, and I'll give you a look at the clear skies, 18 degrees with a light west breeze, before the clouds roll in this afternoon. Also, the Heroes on Bikes Feel Good story. Ryan Mercer, I know you've got thoughts on this one.
Looks like the city is turning 7 main arteries into car-free promenades this summer, giving Montrealians more space to walk, bike, and enjoy street life.
That's fantastic. Ryan, imagine cafes spilling onto sidewalks, families strolling safely, and cyclists finally having room to breathe without dodging traffic.
The plan rolls out in June, starting with St. Laurent and St. Denis, and the council promises pop-up art installations and local music to celebrate the new pedestrian vibe.
All right, let's get into it. First up, the latest on the federal election results and what they mean for Quebec's upcoming policy debates. Good morning, Montreal. I'm Lauren Dupuis. Tonight's protest video sparked citywide outrage, and I'll break down what's next. It's a crisp 12 degrees now, climbing to 15 by noon under growing clouds. And the Canadiens-Hurricanes game gave us a spectacular snowbird fly over. Ryan Mercer, I know you've got thoughts on this one.
Wow, Lauren, did you see the Heroes on Bike story? Over 80 Montreal kids were honored this morning for everyday acts of kindness, real community champions.
I love that, Ryan. Those kids received custom bike helmets and a parade through the Plateau, proof that small gestures truly ripple across our neighborhoods.
And the city council plans to expand the program, partnering with schools to track kindness projects all year. Imagine a city powered by goodwill on 2 wheels.
All right, let's get into it. Starting with the new pedestrian-only zones slated for this summer, then the latest weather update before we head out. Good morning, Montreal. Here are today's top stories shaping our community, from the latest transit updates to essential weather alerts and vital health news. Good morning, Montreal. A video showing a mock hanging was displayed during a pro-Palestinian protest in downtown this morning, sparking citywide outrage. City officials and community groups have condemned the imagery as a disrespectful attack on political figures and a dangerous escalation in the already tense Israel-Palestine debate. The footage, captured by onlookers, depicted a silhouette on a pole with a rope, prompting immediate criticism on social media and calls for accountability. The mayor's office announced an investigation and urged demonstrators to keep their messages peaceful. Several local organizations have scheduled meetings to discuss how to protect free expression while preventing hate-filled symbolism. Police are monitoring the situation closely, and the public is asked to report any further inflammatory displays. This development adds another flashpoint to a series of recent demonstrations across the city.
Canada's Liberal caucus faces a sudden shift as former Environment Minister Stephen Guilbeault announced on May 27, 2026, that he will leave the House of Commons this summer. Guilbeault, who has represented the Quebec riding of Laurier-Sainte-Marie since 2019, said his decision stems from deep frustration with Prime Minister Mark Carney's reversal of key climate policy commitments. He previously stepped down from cabinet in 2024 over a contentious pipeline deal, and now says remaining in Parliament would compromise his principles. The resignation will trigger a by-election in a riding that has long been a Liberal stronghold, adding another layer of uncertainty to the government's climate agenda. Party leaders are scrambling to manage the fallout while the opposition watches closely. Analysts warn the loss could weaken the government's ability to meet its international climate targets ahead of the United Nations Climate Summit later this year.
The Quebec government announced today a significant shift in its fiscal policy, raising the tax on insurance premiums starting January 1, 2027. Premier Christine Fréchette, alongside the Ministry of Finance, said the measure will generate an extra $300 million in annual revenue. Officials explained the increase is intended to bolster provincial programs as the cabinet pushes cost of living initiatives. Notably, the premier said the tax change was not on her radar until the announcement on May 27, 2026. Critics warn the added levy could strain households already facing rising expenses, while the government argues the funds are essential for maintaining services. The new rate will be applied to all insurance policies province-wide, with insurers required to adjust premiums accordingly before the start of the new fiscal year.
The Montreal Anti-Radicalization Center has shed its old name, rebranding itself as Ville Sans Violence. The Centre de Prévention de la Radicalisation Menant à la Violence announced the change on May 27, 2026, and with it, a broader mandate that stretches beyond counter-extremism to overall community safety. Created 10 years ago to tackle violent radicalization, the organization says the pandemic exposed fresh threats, from online recruitment to isolated grievances, prompting a shift in focus. Officials stress that the new title reflects a commitment to prevent all forms of violence, not just ideological. The expanded scope will see partnerships with schools, health services, and local neighborhood groups, aiming to weave prevention into everyday life. By widening its lens, the center hopes to build a safer, more resilient Montreal for everyone.
The Quebec Ministry of Health, together with the CIUSSS du Centre Sud Montreal and the CIUSSS de la Mauricie Centre du Québec, has launched a pilot of the dossier santé numérique across sites in Montreal and the Mauricie region. The pilot, active since 27 May 2026, represents a $400 million investment aimed at modernizing patient record access. Officials say the digital health dossier will give clinicians a single, secure view of medical histories while still evaluating alternative solutions. This move is part of a broader provincial push to embed digital services in everyday care, hoping to streamline appointments, reduce paperwork, and improve coordination across hospitals. Health leaders stress that the pilot's success could shape the next phase of Quebec's digital health strategy, potentially extending the system province-wide within the coming years. Patients at the pilot sites will start using the interface in the coming weeks, and privacy officials say it meets security standards. Coming up, the hit and run on Rue Notre Dame is rattling traffic, and the homeless camp is swelling toward 100 tents. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you're feeling refreshed. Let's dive into today's local stories with Ryan Mercer, right after this segment.
Good morning. Early this morning, Sûreté du Québec closed a portion of Rue Notre Dame in downtown Montreal as detectives pursue a hit-and-run investigation. The blockade began shortly after a collision that left a vehicle damaged and a driver unidentified. Police have cordoned off the affected block to preserve evidence and locate the responsible motorist. The closure is causing temporary traffic disruptions, with commuters redirected to nearby avenues such as Rue St. Laurent and Avenue McGill College. Residents and office workers in the area are being asked to allow extra travel time and to follow posted detour signs. Local cafes and shops along the street are reporting slower foot traffic, and delivery services are adjusting routes to avoid the closure. The investigation remains active, and officers are urging anyone with information to contact the police hotline. We'll keep you updated as the situation develops.
The city confirmed that the Notre Dame encampment now holds roughly 100 tents, the highest number recorded to date. Mayor Karine Martinez-Ferrada's office said the surge comes as summer approaches, underscoring a sharp rise in homelessness across Montreal. Officials are monitoring the site closely, noting that the growing camp affects nearby residents with increased foot traffic, noise, and sanitation concerns. Community groups are urging the municipality to expand outreach and shelter options before the heat intensifies. The mayor's team emphasized that safety and health services are being coordinated, but resources are stretched thin. For families living in the surrounding neighborhoods, the encampment's expansion means more police patrols and potential disruptions to local businesses. The city says it will continue to assess the situation daily and work with provincial partners for longer-term solutions.
Starting in summer 2026, the city of Montreal will close 7 streets to cars, turning them into pedestrian-only corridors. The mayor's office and transport department announced the move as part of the seasonal public space enhancement program, aiming to give residents more room to walk, bike, and enjoy the outdoors when the weather warms up. While St. Denis and Castelnau will stay open to traffic, a brand new car-free stretch is set up in Villeray, joining 5 other locations across the island. Officials say the temporary zones are designed to encourage active travel and boost local businesses that thrive on foot traffic. Montrealers can look forward to quieter streets, pop-up cafes, and safer routes for families and cyclists throughout the summer months. Community groups are already planning sidewalk markets and pop-up art shows, and city planners say they'll review the pilot's impact before deciding on any permanent changes.
Fans at the Bell Centre got a thrilling start to Monday night's third playoff game when the Canadian Forces Snowbirds swept low over the arena in a precision flyover. The formation, timed just before the Canadians faced the Carolina Hurricanes in the Eastern Conference Final, traced bright red and white arcs across the sky, echoing the team's colors. Spectators cheered as the Jets roared low, a reminder that the city's military heritage often joins our sports celebrations. Organizers said the display was meant to entertain the crowd and add a patriotic spark to the high-stakes series. The Snowbirds, known for their tight maneuvers, completed a series of loops and a final climb before the teams took the ice, giving Montrealers a memorable pre-game moment that will linger long after the final buzzer.
The city announced today a 2-year funding plan aimed at ending the seasonal surge of homelessness across Montreal. $20 million will flow to each borough, while $29 million will be directed to community organizations that run shelters and outreach programs. The money will build a permanent crisis management cell and expand year-round support services for people living on the streets. Officials say the move follows a sharp rise in tent numbers at the Notre Dame encampment, a reminder that the problem does not disappear when winter ends. For residents, the initiative means more coordinated street cleaning, safer sidewalks, and quicker access to emergency housing when a neighbor is in crisis. City leaders stress that the funding is a long-term investment to keep our neighborhoods livable and to prevent the next wave of wintertime homelessness.
Now let's turn to the weather desk for a quick look at what's ahead this morning.
Right now, Montreal is 12 degrees, feels like 13, with mainly clear skies, humidity at 75%, and a light northwest breeze. By noon, the temperature will rise to 15 degrees under a growing layer of clouds. The overcast will hold through the early afternoon, reaching 16 degrees around 3 in the afternoon. By early evening, the clouds will linger, and the mercury will dip to 14 degrees at 7 in the evening. Today's high will be 26 degrees and the low will settle around 12 degrees after sunset. The sun will set late at 20:30, giving extra daylight for evening plans. No rain is expected for the rest of the day, so outdoor activities can stay on the agenda. A gentle northwest breeze will linger at about 10 kilometers per hour, keeping the air comfortable. Let's now turn to the 5-day outlook. Looking ahead, the next 4 days bring a mix of clouds and a few showers. On Thursday, temperatures will reach a high of 17 degrees and dip to 9 degrees at night, with overcast skies all day. Friday will be similar with a high of 18 degrees and a low of 9, but the clouds will turn rainy in the afternoon, bringing about 80% chance of rain. Saturday brightens with a clear sky, a high of 17 degrees and a low of 9, perfect for outdoor plans. Sunday returns to overcast conditions, a high of 18 degrees and a low of 9, and a modest 35% chance of rain in the evening. The temperature swing stays modest, staying in the high teens throughout the period. Expect comfortable evenings and plenty of daylight for any weekend activities.
Up next, traffic updates, a preview of the VCSA Gala of Merit, and Royalmount's expanded Race Week experience. We will be right back.
Watch the local sunset tonight at 6 p.m. for all your local Montreal news.
Morning commuters, the biggest headache right now is the southbound lane closure on Autoroute des Carrières through the Mont-Royal and Montreal corridor. Traffic is backing up near the des Carrières interchange, with delays of 10 to 15 minutes spilling onto the connecting streets. A second major closure hits Autoroute 15 southbound in the same Mont-Royal stretch, creating similar bottlenecks as drivers merge onto des Carrières. Construction crews are also working on Boulevard Lacordaire, where one lane is closed between Rue Saint-Laurent and Rue Saint-Urbain, and on Rue Saint-Urbain itself, where a single lane remains shut near Rue Ontario. Those sites are adding a few extra minutes to local trips but remain manageable. Overall, the network is moving, though you'll want to allow extra time on the southbound highways and the affected downtown arteries. Expect the same pattern this afternoon, with the closures staying in place and minor delays persisting.
Tonight, the Orchestra Montreal brings Rachmaninoff and Tchaikovsky to life at the Rachel Street venue, a symphonic concert that promises a powerful start to your evening. Meanwhile, the VCSA Gala of Merit gathers community leaders at Embassy Plaza in La Ville, offering a chance to support local philanthropy and enjoy a refined evening. If you're looking for a taste of the city's vibrant Afro scene, head to Terrace Camellia for Flavor Afro MTL, where live rhythms and street food blend into a lively street festival vibe. Fans of the latest hip-hop and R&B will find a packed night at Studio Bay Spin, where Kemi Sila joins Drake, Tyla and Charlotte Day Wilson for a back-to-back showcase on the 28th and 29th. And for a little extra sparkle later this week, keep an eye on the Old Port, where Cirque du Soleil's Echo rolls under the big top at 7:30 p.m., a must-see spectacle that will light up the weekend.
The Canadiens fell 4-0 at home to the Carolina Hurricanes, dropping the Eastern Conference Final to a 3-1 deficit. That loss puts Montreal on the brink of elimination, and they'll need a miracle in Game 5 on Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern on TNT to stay alive. In women's hockey, the Montreal Victoire completed a historic sweep of the Ottawa Charge, clinching the PWHL Walter Cup with a 4-0 victory. It marks the first time a Canadian franchise has captured the league's championship, and the squad will now turn its sights to next season's showcase events. Across the city's soccer scene, CF Montreal were shut out 2-0 by St. Louis City SC, extending a 2-match winless streak. Struggling to find the back of the net, the club looks to spark a turnaround when they host the New York Red Bulls on Friday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern via MLS Season Pass.
Royalmount, located on St. Catherine Street in downtown Montreal, is turning the city into a runway for luxury wheels. For a 10-day stretch during Formula One week, the store has expanded its Concurs Royalmount experience, pairing high-end automotive displays with extended shopping hours and pop-up retail activations. Visitors can wander among gleaming supercars while browsing the latest designer collections, and the program includes public workshops and test drive demos that draw crowds from the neighborhood. The event not only showcases Montreal's growing reputation as a hub for high-end automotive culture, it also pumps foot traffic into surrounding boutiques and cafes. It's a reminder that our city's spirit thrives when local businesses create experiences that bring us together. Up next, meet the 80-plus Montreal kids, celebrated on Heroes on Bikes, and see 500 seedlings take root in a community garden.
Coming up tonight at 6, the local sunset. Your neighborhood, your city, your news. From City Hall decisions to the stories happening right on your street, we cover what matters most to Montrealers. Join us tonight at 6 p.m. on GMna for the local sunset, Montreal's evening newscast.
In the bright morning light of Côte Saint-Luc, the Sun Youth headquarters buzzed with the sound of laughter and the soft click of bicycle spokes. Families, volunteers, and community donors gathered around a row of gleaming new bikes, each one waiting for a young hand to claim it. More than 80 children, ranging from 6 to 17, stood shoulder to shoulder, their faces lit with a mixture of pride and anticipation after being nominated for acts of everyday kindness, helping a neighbor carry groceries, sweeping a street corner clean, or mentoring a younger peer in the park. One moment lingered in the crowd. A 12-year-old girl named Maya stepped forward, her eyes meeting those of the volunteer who handed her a teal-painted cruiser. She whispered, "I want to ride this to the library and bring my friends along," and the room fell into a gentle, collective smile. That simple promise turned a bike into a wheel of hope, ready to roll through the Plateau Mont-Royal, Verdun and Rosemont Petite Patrie, encouraging more good deeds along the way. It's a reminder that small acts of generosity can set us all moving forward together.
On a bright Saturday morning in St. Laurent Park's Mile East Community Garden, the scent of fresh earth mingled with the chatter of neighbors gathering to turn a modest plot into a living promise. About 40 volunteers, seniors with weathered hands, parents juggling toddlers, and a handful of eager schoolchildren, arrived with shovels, watering cans, and a shared purpose. The Green Horizons nonprofit coordinated the effort, and together they set about planting 500 native tree and flower seedlings, each one cradled gently into the soil. A vivid moment unfolded when little Maya, 8 years old, placed a delicate prairie coneflower beside her grandfather's sturdy maple sapling, her eyes lighting up as she whispered, "Now the bees will have a home." By noon, rows of bright blossoms and saplings stretched across the garden, already attracting curious hummingbirds that flitted between the new seedlings. The city's Environment Department's support turned a single morning into a lasting legacy of pollinator habitats and a greener streetscape for the whole Plateau Mont-Royal borough. It's a reminder that when a community comes together, even a small patch of soil can become a source of pride for generations.
Thank you, Montreal, for joining me this morning. It's been a powerful day, from the outrage over the mock hanging video at the pro-Palestinian protest to the inspiring Heroes on Bikes, where over 80 kids were celebrated for their kindness. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow on the local Sunrise.